Hello, everyone. Hi, welcome to this Facebook Live. My name is Shalini Joshi Amdagni, founder of magicalpainfreeliving.com. And I want to welcome all of you, whether you're coming and joining me live. Hi, Natalie. So good to see you. Whether you're joining me live like Ram and Natalie, or you're going to be watching this on replay, I know a lot of you tell me you watch the replay in person or via messages. So welcome all of you, and I'm so excited because today's topic is something that is, that is dear to me, because 10 years ago I was a very different person living a very different life, and Natalie here can attest to that. We've both grown in different ways, emotionally, spiritually, and we have a lot of conversations, so Natalie knows. So the topic today is your vibe, your life. And what I'm going to be doing is I will be sharing with you, number one, a story. I'm calling it Slip Sliding Away. It's my personal story. And sharing with you the power of emotions, and also 3 ways in which you can set your daily vibe so that you can change your life and create the life that you would like, okay? So thank you for joining, and beginning with, please feel free to comment as I go through. Please feel free to share your comments, your observations, your experiences. It's always fun. Hi, Sandeepa. Thank you for joining. And once again, the topic is your vibe, your life. And I'm sure you're familiar with the your vibe and your vibration. So if you have some experiences, please share them. Hi, Desmond. Thank you for joining. So start, going back to the topic, your vibe, your life. The first thing is, what, to begin with, what is a vibe? What is your definition of a vibe? Like what do you feel is, we always talk in social groups like, I love the vibe of that place, or she has such great vibes, or, ooh, I need to get away from here. I don't like the vibes here. So, I was looking through what exactly a vibe is in a technical definition form. And it says that a vibe is a person's emotional state, or it's the atmosphere of a place as felt by others. So, that's the official definition. Of course, we are all familiar with the slang vibe, which is really, the full form is vibration, right? So what is your definition? Feel free to post and comment below. So let me tell you a little bit about the story that I was going to share with you. It's called Slip Sliding Away. And it's my personal story, because 10 years ago, actually now it's going to be 11, I was, in my own little world, very far away from, I didn't know what a vibration was. I never thought of how your vibes can create your life. I was in this slip sliding kind of mode, bouncing around. And 10 years ago, I was at a job. I'm going to stick to the job story. I have so many things that were going on 10 years ago. It'll take lots of different Facebook Lives. But I was at a job. So if you guys are at a job that you don't like and that you feel frustrated with or stuck in, you may want, this might be interesting for you. So 10 years ago, I was, at a job that I didn't really like. Well, I liked it initially, but then I stopped liking it. I was stuck on the computer for hours doing work that I didn't like, and I was frustrated. And I had a friend, well, she was a colleague. Her name was Linda. And, we were buddies, and I was frustrated. because I sat hours and hours on the computer. My background was, I have a bachelor's in psychology. I have a master's degree in social work. So I was a people person, but I was stuck here at this job because it offered me flexi time. I could go back home at 2 o'clock and be with my kids. And so I liked that part of the work, but I hated what I was doing over 5 years that I worked there. Initially, it was fun. I was learning new stuff. And then it got a bit boring, and then it got really suffocating. I don't know if you relate to this. If you've ever been in a job where you feel like, it's like, I can't go to this job anymore. I hate it. But I stuck at it, and my friend Linda, who was a colleague, she was my best friend. And, as they say, birds of a feather flock together. And so she had a lot of complaints. Her boyfriend at the time was, it was like a yo-yo relationship. So she was complaining about a boyfriend. We both were complaining about the work. And, there would be, every time there was a new hire, unfortunately, the new hired person was getting a much higher salary than her or me. And then we would have this complaining and cribbing and feeling so sorry and feeling like this is so unfair, and we've been working here for such a longer time, and they just come in and get a better salary than us. And I don't know if you've been there, because I know a lot of my clients have been there. I think I attract them because that's what I've been through. But we were this little complaint society. We were always talking to each other and confirming our unfair feelings and how it's things are not fair and all of that. Hi Dimpy, hi Joe. Thank you for joining. So there was this whole complaining complaining atmosphere that was going on. And as I went back to my house, I was unhappy. You spend a lot of time at work, right? And then you go back with that energy. You take you with you wherever you go. And so I would go back to my house and I would be, interestingly, I would be like in this mood, even with my little ones, and I would be frustrated with something or the other. And I also found that physically, the physical atmosphere of my house, so interesting. But at the time, there was this gigantic building that was coming up right in front of my apartment. It's called Fraser Suites now. If you are familiar with Bangkok, in Soi 11, that was coming up. And there was so much digging and, noises and dirt. And it was so unpleasant that, it just added to this unhappy energy that I was in. And of course, I didn't realize it. I was just like, this doesn't work. And, I'm pissed at my kids. And I was getting frustrated with my husband, who had just started his job as, he was doing his own business for the very first time. And so I have this thing here that I'm going to show you. So, you can see my vibe was just pissed. I was angry. I was frustrated. I was unhappy. I was, whether it was my physical environment or my emotional environment, and the money was, what happened was, at some point during those 5 years, towards the later time, there was, the company wasn't doing that well. And so they did a salary, they slashed salaries. And I was, it was just like things were just going downhill. And I was so frustrated because I'd worked there for a long time. Like, what? Now you're going to cut the salaries after all this work that I've put in? My social life was, surrounded by people like me who were complaining and were unhappy, and we were yesing each other and, validating each other's sad sob stories. And work was obviously, that's where, you know, I was feeling all the frustration, and then self-worth, it was like plummeting like nobody's business, because I didn't like the job I was in. I felt like a bad mother screaming at my kids. I wasn't a very pleasant wife to hang out with. And my self-worth was at its lowest ever. So I was creating this because of my vibe. And what happened eventually is that I was, I went to the only fun factor, or the only happy vibe time, was going to the gym. Because I would put on music, and music just, even today, puts me on such a high. So that would be like this little pie of my life that was the happy time. But what happened was, as I went to this happy hour, the gym at that time, I noticed, like, I thought I overdid the abs exercises, and I noticed a pinprick pain in my left rib. So, you know, I had to go to the doctor, and I was diagnosed with an illness, which was costochondritis, an inflammation of the ribs inflammation of a ligament that connects the ribs and the breastbone, and I could not go to the gym anymore. So there went the little piece of the pie of my life that was putting me on a high, and now even that was gone. And eventually what happened is my physical pain got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. No matter what I tried, physiotherapy, ultrasound therapy, hot packs, cold packs, rib support, neck belt, you know, all kinds of things, changing of chairs, changing of pillows, nothing worked for me. And I was advised by the doctors to quit my job and be on bed rest, like forever, indefinitely. And you know, my vibe, if there was a scale of 0 to 10, would have been a 1 or a 2 back then. And so, you know, what happened incidentally. So this was, you know, what was happening in my life. It was like everything came to a halt, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically, socially. I mean, in every way, I was at a pause. I was at oh my God, fumbling the words, at a stop in every area of my life. And it wasn't until I attended a self-awareness seminar forced by a friend of mine, like had to attend it because of her, that I heard the words that you create your life with your thoughts, you create your disease with your thoughts. And I was thinking, how on earth does that happen? You know, completely blissfully unaware of this whole thing. And I was, you know, I felt like a victim. I said, oh my God, I was angry at God. And I said, what is this? I'm a good human being. And, you know, why is nothing in my life working? And I was angry and pissed until I heard this guy. And the reason why I stayed open to listening to this guy at all was because I was desperate. I was desperate not to live my life on my bed, watching my kids grow. My big inspiration to get better was my kids. And so as I heard that, you know, I went up to the host and I said, you know, this is my life and, you know, I'm in so much pain. What do you suggest I do? And he said, why don't you try EFT for your pain? And EFT, for those of you who are brand new, is Emotional Freedom Techniques. And I thought, really? What's emotion got to do with my physical pain? I have a disease. I have chronic pain. For 10 months, I've been in pain. So, you know, still blissfully unaware of the power of emotions. And I thought, what's this got to do with it? But anyway, because he suggested it and because he said he's heard wonderful things about it, he didn't practice it, he didn't teach it, but he knew of it. And so that night I went back and I Googled EFT. I'm going to write it down here, Emotional Freedom Techniques. And, you know, there was just one website back then belonging to Gary Craig, Emotional Freedom Techniques. So I Googled it, I downloaded their manual, and as even for the first time, it looked really weird and strange. But as I started using this silly looking tapping, which is basically what I'm doing, you tap on key acupressure points as you tune into things that are upsetting you, disturbing you, your stresses, your emotional hurts. And I noticed instant shifts in my pain levels. And as I applied this tool over 2 months, clearing out the hurts, the emotional pain, the resentments, the anger, the frustrations, the feelings of victim, feeling like a victim and feeling like a bad mother and feeling like so low and so, unhappy with myself. As I cleared up all those bottled emotions that I didn't even know I had bottled up, my life became better and better and better as I used this technique for 2 months, I was completely free of my pain. I was completely free of my disease, and I had discovered my purpose on this planet, which was to help others like me, heal themselves. And so from this scenario where everything wasn't working, my life, my work, I discovered I didn't have to go back to that job again. I knew what I was going to do for the rest of my life. I was going to help people. And that was my passion anyway. I had done psychology and social work. And socially, everything began to change. I had a whole different circle of friends, over a period of time. I started making a lot more money. My physical environment, which is so interesting. September 6, 2007 is when I found EFT. December 11, 2007, I was in this house. Like, my physical environment changed. I was not in that horrible place where there was construction and road was dug up and my apartment there needed a refurbishing, but the manager wasn't agreeing to it. So everything shifted. Physically, emotionally, I felt happier. I felt more confident. I had healed myself when the doctors, the best experts in Thailand, couldn't help me. And this is supposed to be a medical haven, right? So my self-worth was at an all-time high and everything changed. And I realized that your life follows your vibes. Your life follows your vibes. This is so powerful, guys. I don't know if you can relate to this, and I'm sure I know some of you watching may have experienced this. I was not consciously aware of this, but now 10 years ahead, I consciously am aware of what is my vibe, what is my daily vibe, because your daily vibe, what you're feeling, your emotional environment, right? That's what we said. What is a vibe is a person's emotional state. So if you tune in right now and you check in with what is your emotional state right now? Are you feeling happy and excited and eager and enjoying your life and really appreciating where you are and eager to wake up? And that's where I am right now in my life. Of course there are those dips you go through, but you can change that by consciously, determinedly changing your personal emotional state, which is what your vibe is. And if we are all too familiar with the law of attraction, if you're here, then when you're vibrating at a happier vibe, the law of attraction starts bringing to you more of what you're vibing now. Remember, I was telling you about my story when nothing was working in my life. Everything was like going downhill. That was my vibe. And unfortunately, the law of attraction doesn't say, oh, you're feeling really shitty right now. You're feeling so bad. I'll wait till you're feeling better and then I'll bring the happier stuff to you. It doesn't work like that, because law of attraction, like the law of gravity, is always on. It's always turned on. So if you feel bad and you feel worse and you feel worse, that's what shows up in your life. And you think, I have this thing I had written down. You can choose your vibe, or you can have a yo-yo vibe. Mine was a yo-yo vibe back then, because I'm like, oh, my work is not working. These people are mean. How come this guy gets a better salary than me? And everything that in my vibe was, I was observing and then setting my vibe. This is not working. That's going to set my vibe. I'm not happy about that. That's going to set my vibe. I wasn't consciously choosing my vibe. I was responding, reacting to observing, and then by default, I was setting my vibe. So, if you are in a situation where you're not happy, where sometimes we're just stuck in situations, and maybe the people around us put us in this unhappy vibe, and maybe, like me, you have an illness, right? But you can still choose your vibe. No matter what's going on in our lives, there is something we can appreciate. There's something that we can be grateful for. And so, if you don't consciously, determinedly choose your vibe just gets set by default by that unhappy experience you had, by that person who said that mean thing to you, by your job that's not going well, and so it just goes, you just go like a hamster in a wheel. You just keep going round and round, and you don't know what's going on. But really, your emotional atmosphere, what's going on inside of you, is creating what's outside of you. As I said, your vibe, your life follows your vibe. And so I want to ask you right now, by the way, if you are here and if you are resonating with any of this, feel free to comment and say if you're resonating with this, or if you have something to share about this topic, please do comment below, because I know we have some experts here that are also coaches and healers. So on a day-to-day basis, like, what's your daily vibe? Okay, you can tune in right now and think of, what's my vibe today? And your vibe is not like a college degree that once you get the degree, you have it for life. I wish it was like that. It would be so much more easier, but that's not how it is, my friends. It's a daily thing. You'll see bad news. You'll hear something sad. You'll hear, something, you'll get an email that'll shift your vibe. It's like, and so on a scale of 0 to 10 today, what is your vibe right now? Is it a 4? Is it a 0? Is like that unhappy guy there, and 10 is like a really happy person. Okay, so what is your daily vibe? And that's it's important to ask yourself this question on a daily basis, because what you feel, for example, if you're at a 5 today, I'm feeling neither so great nor so bad, I'm on in between, then that's how your day is going to be. The law of attraction will read that vibe, right, and bring into your experience level 5 relationships, experiences. That's what's going to happen on a day-to-day basis. So if you want to shift your vibe, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 steps. Okay, it doesn't matter, whether some days you're down, some days you're up. That's fine. We all go through the rainy day, those rainy days. But these are 3 simple steps that you can use every single day, no matter where you are. Okay. So number one is tune in. Why bother tuning in? Like, oh my God, like I have so many things to do. People say I have such a busy schedule. I don't have time to tune in. Well, that's just unfortunate, because then you're going to be like me, you know, going round and round in circles, not even bothering to see what's going on inside of me. And then you'll have the yo-yo vibe, because you'll be bumping into things and think, you know, and just react. So you have to tune in. You have to go inside and say, what am I feeling? What are my fears? What am I thinking today? What am I overthinking today? What am I fearing today? What are my doubts today? What am I, you know, it's like you can't trash things, dirty stuff from your house unless you've gathered it first and collected it and seeing, okay, this is the dirt. This is what I need to trash out. So you have to tune in, and then you tap out, you trash out, you clean out, you clear out. I tap, okay? So you think about what's bothering you, and you find a way, whatever your way is. Maybe you write it down and burn it. I don't know, maybe you journal. That's the way you kind of take it out of your head and into a piece of paper so you can see it and it's out there. And then turn on. This is the best part. Turn on your vibe. So for example, if I was in a place of fear and worry and doubt in the morning and I clear it out, now how can I pump up my vibe? Okay. And this can happen in so many ways, you know, gratitude, or I dance. I love music. I'll put on my favorite music. I walk in nature. You can meditate. You can get a massage. You can do different things to pump up your vibe. And so tune in, first thing. Tap out. You can actually use EFT tapping. I'll put a link up on how you can use the EFT tapping. I have a YouTube channel. It's called, if you go to YouTube and you write EFT with Shalini, there are like over 40 videos there, and you'll learn how to do the tapping too. Okay? And so you tune in. Why? Because your vibe sets your life, and your vibe is what again? It's the emotional environment that you have got going, whether consciously or unconsciously. But you can consciously choose your vibe every single day by tuning in, clearing out whatever you notice is upsetting you, disturbing you, creating dis-ease within. And then once you're feeling lighter and better, you can pump up that vibe by doing something you love, something, you know, dancing or whatever ticks you, whatever just turns you on, right? So those are the 3 steps to, you know, consciously every single day setting your vibe. And as you do that on a day-to-day basis, constantly, not the yo-yo vibe, okay? Consciously setting your vibe, no matter what's going on. Maybe you'll have a day where you do nothing and you just sulk. That's fine. That's fine. You know, allow yourself to have those sulking days, but don't stay there too long, right? Because then the law of attraction will bring you those sulky experiences. So stay there for as long as you want, but get back and tune in again, tap it out, and find something fun. Art, painting, you know, hanging out with people who pump you up, right? Staying away from people who pull your energy down, or who they just spread this toxic energy. I had toxic kind of energy 10 years ago where I was just, you know, complaining and blaming and all of that. So those are not the kind of people you want to hang out with, okay? And so I hope, you know, this is making sense to you. You can, as I said, you can create a wonderful life. Back 10 years ago, you know, I don't know what I was doing. I was just drifting away, as I said, sliding away. And today, my life is very different. You know, my self-worth is completely different. My work, I love the work I do. I love being here sharing this. I wouldn't have the confidence to do this 10 years ago, no way. You know, I'm making great money. I have much better relationships with every member of my family. My physical environment, my home is like a sanctuary. I love my home and I really take care of it. I smudge it with incenses. I clear out intentionally. So it's a very different life in every area because I'm taking care of this center thing, right? Your vibe. And I've just shared with you 3 steps where you too can consciously shift your vibe and create the life that you truly, truly desire. So thank you for joining me. If there is, Ram was saying, how does one shift from yo-yo, more consistent vibe setting? It's exactly that. It's every day, Ram. It's an everyday thing, right? Like it's imagine not brushing your teeth for 5 days. Your teeth are going to stink. So you have to have discipline. You have to have routine. It has to be a daily practice, just like you have a daily shower, just like you have a daily, cleaning your hands. You don't go and eat stuff with dirty hands. It's you can go without cleaning your house for a while, but eventually it's gonna stink. It's gonna be like there's gonna be dirt. So you have to have regular cleansing, and you have to do it regular. You cannot expect, like I said, it's not a certificate. It's not a college degree. You got it, and yes, now I have this wonderful vibe for the rest of my life. Doesn't happen. It's a daily thing. And, there are times when you have really, like experiences that rock your world. I know, because I remember there was a time when my dad had a heart attack. He was having a heart attack in my arms at a New Year's on a New Year's Day 2 years ago. It really shocks you. It rocks you, but you've got to release it and come back, because you can only help others when you are in a happier vibe. If you're with them, if you are sulking and just feeling bad and unhappy, and then you're of no help to yourself or others. So it has to be a daily maintenance, daily care, right? Daily thing. So that was the topic for today: your vibe, your life. And if you are just joining, then you will want to watch the replay. Deepti, hi Viji, and I was sharing with the group, whoever joined and whoever's going to watch the replay, how your vibe creates your life. I shared a quick story of mine. It was called Slip Sliding Away, and how I went through this rabbit hole and didn't realize that my vibe was creating my life. I was just reacting to things that I was observing, and that was the vibe I had. I didn't realize that you create your life with the kind of vibes that you have. And so if you want to know more, just watch the replay. Thank you so much for joining. And if you have any comments, or if you think this might be helpful to someone, please share it. And thank you for joining me, whether you're watching this on replay or you are here. Hi Simi, hi Patrick, hi Doug. So thank you for joining, and I've left a link above. If you want to, for a very limited time, I'm offering a complimentary free 30-minute pain-free living breakthrough session with me. It's just for a very short time. So if you are interested, just email me. I've put my email address up there, and I'll be happy to chat with you and see what's going on with you, and share with you and diagnose what might be at the root of what's keeping you stuck, and help you get clarity. So if you're interested in that, feel free to email me. It's just for a short time. And, I'll see you again next week with another topic. And if you do have topics that you would like me to address, please comment below too. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Bye-bye.